Hi guys, I'm Trish. I'm going to try to fix up the angle of this without it falling down. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Um, I've got oily hair today in case you notice, and that's because I put oil in it. I gave myself an isolation haircut. That's not true. I always cut my own hair. And then of course because I cut it, it was all frizzy because I had to comb it a lot and I don't normally comb my hair. And so then I blow dried it to try to get rid of the fizziness, and it made it worse. So then I just packed it all full of oil. Look at that. Look how oily it is. But it's a good treatment for it. Anyway, that's not why I'm making the video. I'm making the video, as you can see from the title, I had a hysterectomy. I had that done last year. It's getting towards the end of May now, and I had that hysterectomy done in July last year. So it's May, June, July, 10 months ago. Now, you'll notice that I called the video resentment after hysterectomy and not regrets after hysterectomy, because I don't regret having it done at all. I needed to get it done. I was bleeding to death. It was 1,000,000% the right thing to do, but I have come to resent having had to have had a hysterectomy, which is a bit silly because, you know, there was nothing I could have done about it. It was just my hormones. And the reason for that is, I'll go back. I have two adult kids now. I have a daughter, she's 24. I have a son who's 26. So like fully adults. I've got one of each. I've got, you know, it's the dream come true. That's all I ever wanted from as long as I could remember. I wanted a boy and then I wanted a girl, and I had that. So after I had my daughter, or actually before I had her, I'd said to my then partner that I wanted him to have a vasectomy once she was born because I didn't want any more. I had my boy, I had my girl, that was it. I was happy. I didn't want any more kids. So then my daughter was born, and then he went in for the vasectomy, and as they were wheeling him away, I thought, oh no, I've changed my mind. I do want more kids. But it was too late by that stage, and he was dead set. He didn't want any more. So, you know, they took him away to theatre and gave him the vasectomy, and then it was a really shitty relationship anyway. We never had sex again. So he never actually needed to have the vasectomy. But that's neither here nor there. I would have been 27 or 28 when that was done. And even though I had second thoughts as he was being wheeled off to theatre, it didn't bother me too much because I did have my kids. And then over the years, over the next 18 years and a bit, or would have been over the next 18 years, I always wanted one more. I always wanted just one more baby. And of course it never happened, even though, you know, like I broke up with the father of my kids and was a single parent. I never, if I had hooked up with another bloke in a proper long-term relationship and he wanted kids, I would have had more, but that never happened. So, you know, I never had more kids. But I did always want just one more, and I could, even to this day, I can see what she would have been like. I've got a name for her, everything. Her name would have been Annika Lily. She would have had dark curly hair and green eyes and this little cherub face. I can see her so clearly. But, you know, it never happened. And then my daughter was 18. She finished VCE, and I went to pick her up from her last exam, and she was walking out to the car, and I looked at her, and something in me just flipped and went, no more kids. I don't want any more. And she's 24 now, so that was 6 years ago, 6.5 years ago. And yeah, something just flipped in me, and I just went, no more kids. I don't want any more. I don't want to do this again. I don't want to go through all the sleepless nights and, you know, the toddler stage, and then kinder, and then primary school, and school drop-offs and school pickups, and all that angst. It's because if you've got kids, you know it's a lot of hard work. And, you know, when they're in primary school, they have, you know, younger kid problems, and then when they're teenagers, there's teenager problems, and then, you know, you're sort of people get stuck in their head that, oh, you know, when they're 18, they're an adult, and then, you know, it's all over. It's not. Your kids, no matter how old they are, my kids now, they have adult problems, which is so much worse than kid problems and teenager problems. So, you know, it never ends. I'm a mum for the rest of my life, and I'm fine with that. That's all I ever wanted to do. All I ever wanted to do was be a mum and a model. That's going to happen as well. But, you know, it's all I ever wanted. So I've never resented my kids or anything, because I knew it would be work until the day I die. So yeah, so I right up until a couple of months ago, I was at peace with not being able to have any more kids. And when I had to have the hysterectomy, it didn't bother me, because I thought, well, again, I've got my 2 kids. I am not planning on having any more. I don't want any more. I'm happy with what I've got. In, you know, 5-10 years time, I'll have grandkids, and that can be, you know, I can look forward to that. That'll be amazing. I can do things with my grandkids, and you know, help out at kinder and school, and be really hands-on, and help my kids with their kids, and then, you know, give them back. So I was fine with that. I was really honestly fine. When I went in for the hysterectomy, there was not a single thought in my brain about what if I want more kids. And I was 51 when I had it done. I'm 52 now. Being completely realistic, I am much too old to be having more kids. And even so, I now absolutely can't. I don't have a uterus. I still have my ovaries, so I still have eggs. But at my age, my eggs wouldn't be viable anymore. I do have family that I know would not hesitate to give me an egg. And so, you know, I could find a surrogate and all that sort of thing. But, you know, when I had the hysterectomy, I wasn't even thinking along those terms, because it was, you know, the main thing I was thinking about was, what if my daughter can't have babies? I won't be able to have one for her now. That was my biggest concern, having a baby, not being able to have a baby for someone else. But then I met a bloke going back at the start of this year, and he didn't have, or doesn't have kids, and wants kids. And when I was seeing him, he actually asked me if I hadn't had the hysterectomy, would I have had more kids? And when he asked me that, something flipped back in me, and I thought, yeah, for the right bloke, I would have. I absolutely, even given my age, and given that I would have had to get a surrogate and a donor egg and all the rest of it, I would have done that for the right man. And it really triggered something in me, that having that hysterectomy has taken away that ability for me to be able to do that for someone in the future. Like if I find a man that I love and he doesn't have kids and he wants them, I wouldn't be able to give that to him. And that's been really hard for me to come to terms with. So, you know, I'm not seeing him anymore, so that's not an issue for me anymore. But it was one of the factors in why we're not seeing each other anymore. And that's more than fair. I could not expect a man who didn't already have kids and wanted them to stick around with me when I can't give that to him. I can give him grandkids at some point, but they wouldn't biologically be his. So that surprised me, that it triggered that in me, that I would have had kids for someone else if I'd been able to, even given my age. But as I said, we're not seeing each other anymore now, and I've had some time to really think about that part of a future relationship with someone else, and I've had to make a decision within myself because of my limitations now, that is not having a uterus and my eggs being old, that if I do meet a man in the future who doesn't have kids but wants them, that I will just have to put a stop to it, like straight away. That'll have to be one of the first questions I ask. And you know, you do when you meet someone, you know, have you got kids? Do you want kids? So that'll have to be an automatic deal breaker for me to add to my list of other deal breakers. And also, I think as well, because I do date men who are younger than me, age isn't an issue. Well, actually, age is an issue for me because I don't like older men. I do like much younger men. I'm 52. I like to date men from about 35 to about 45. So even if, if I met a bloke in his 40s and he didn't have kids and didn't want them, I'd be like, well, yeah, okay, well, that's, we can continue because, if you've got to this age and you haven't got kids and you don't want them, you'd know by now that you just don't want them, and that would be fine. But I think if I met a bloke in his 30s who didn't have kids and wanted and said that he didn't want them, I would be extremely hesitant because he's still quite young, and I'd be thinking, you say you're 35 now and you don't have kids and you're saying you don't want kids, but what if you get to 40 and then you want them, and then we'd be firmly entrenched and I wouldn't be able to do it, and I'd be a lot older then as well. So that's probably going to have to be another deal breaker for me as well. Much younger men who don't have kids and who even say they don't want them. So it's been a bit of a learning curve for me, and I certainly didn't expect to feel like this. Because I was just so firm in my own mind that it was okay, and it will be again. I've just gotten over it. I was talking to my daughter about it. She's very, very wise, and she said that me, like being with a younger man and him not having kids and wanting kids may have triggered not a maternal instinct in me, but like a grand maternal instinct, like a grandmotherly thing. Because women at my age, when they're, you're looking down the barrel of menopause, I'd be perimenopausal now. I'm still ovulating, but I'd be certainly heading into menopause even if I still had my uterus. So my body's probably winding down, and what I'm feeling is like a yearning for grandkids, not a yearning for more kids of my own, but a yearning for grandkids. So that was a great consolation to me as well, because it explained, or could go a long way to explaining why I've been feeling like this. So, but there's no rush for me for grandkids. I can hear my daughter in the kitchen. She can hear me. She knows. No grandkids till I'm at least 60, so that's at least another 8 years. So, and I just thought I'd make this video in case there's other women of a similar age who are going in for a hysterectomy. Maybe they're having doubts, or they don't know if maybe things will change for them down the track or whatever. But I'm not making this video to say to people, don't have the hysterectomy done. I mean, if you need it done for medical reasons, you have it done. I had to. I was bleeding so much I would have just bled out. But maybe for women who are on the fence, like they don't really need a hysterectomy, they're sort of like, they're tossing up, I could have a hysterectomy, or I could not have a hysterectomy, or I could wait another 5 years, or whatever. If you're on the fence, maybe have a think about it. I don't know. And I just thought I'd throw it out there because I can't be the only person to have gone through this. And I know it helps other people to go, oh, hey, that's happening to me as well. So that's all. I'm going to go. It was just a quick video, and I'll catch us next time.